Welcome to 12th standard. This year, you're going to learn Python in computer science. Even Python supports OOPS concept like C++, which you learned last year, right? So, Chapter 1, Unit 1, Function. Learning objectives of this lesson. After completion of this chapter, you will be able to understand function specification, parameters and arguments, which you learned last year, interface versus implementation, pure functions and impure functions. It is also called as side effects, right? Before starting introduction, let me ask you a few questions. What is an algorithm? Yes, most of you answered correctly. Algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a particular problem, right? Recollect some examples which I gave last year. Yeah, how to prepare tea, right? How to prepare coffee, anything like that. So this, if you write it in step by step, it is considered as an algorithm, right? Now, what is a program? Last year you learned C++, this year you're going to learn Python. What is a program? Yes, it is a set or group of instructions written in any computer language. Example, C++, Java, Python, etc. Okay. Now we will see what is function before going to introduction. What is function? Last year you learned, right? Subroutines, modules. It is nothing but a small part of a program or code. It is also called as subroutine, right? So to solve a particular problem, there may be many ways. Out of that, a simplest way is using algorithm, because it gives accurate result and less time consuming. I think now you got an idea about algorithm, right? Now we will start introduction. The most important criteria in writing and evaluating the algorithm is the time it takes to complete the task. So the steps should be short, fine? So to have a meaningful comparison of algorithm, the duration of computation time must be independent. It should be independent of programming language or compiler and computer use. That means it should not influence the program. Algorithm should be common. So taking that algorithm can be used by any language, any computer language, right? It should not influence one particular language. That's why it is called independent of programming language. Is it clear? As you are aware that algorithm are expressed using statements of a programming language, statements of the programming language, not syntax of the programming language. Is it clear? If a bulk of statements to be repeated for many number of times, then subroutines are used to finish the task. Like last year you learned, suppose if the program is big, that can be broken into small pieces. Divide and rule. Do you remember? Right? You break the program into small pieces. It is called as subroutines. Right? Subroutines are basic building blocks of computer programs. Subroutines are a small section of code that are used to perform a particular task that can be used repeatedly. Already I told you. Suppose if example, I want to calculate total and average for the entire class. You all know that total and average is common to the entire class. So what I will do? Right. Total, I will write a small subprogram. Average, I will write a small subprogram. And whenever I want, I can call. Is it clear? So, in a programming language, these subroutines are called as functions. These subroutines are called as function. Right? Shall I move to the next topic? Right. Function with respect to programming language. A function is a unit of code that is often defined within a greater program, that is code structure. Right? As you all know, functions are small blocks of code. Recollect call by value and call by reference. Small code. Right? In call by reference, you send the reference. In call by value, you send the value. Is it clear? Is it clear? So, each function will have input, process, and output like normal program. Like normal program, even subroutines. or functions will have input, process and output. But these function works on many kind of input like variance, expression and procedures and produce a concrete output. See, the input can be a variant, that is any variables, expression like C is equal to A plus B, which produces a concrete output, that is the correct output. Is it clear? Right? Shall I go to the next topic? Function specification. Let us consider an example. A colon equal to 24. A colon is equal to 24 has an expression in it, but 24 is not itself an expression. This 24 is not an expression, it is a value. Rather, it is a function definition. So it is called as function definition. Now this definition binds a value to name. This definition binds a value to the name A. A is a name, right? So 24 is bound to the name A. Definition or not expression, at the same time expression or not also treated as definition, right? Nothing. See, it's not confusing. An expression is a combination of operators and operate together. See this expression. These two are operands. These two are operators. It is a combination of operands and operators. It is called expression. Understood? Definitions are distinct synthetic block. Right? Distinct means unique. Okay. Now, what is distinct synthetic block? That means it must follow the rules defined like syntax in programming language. It should follow as rule. Okay. Definition can have expression nested inside them and vice versa. That means definition like nested loop. You know nested loop, right? Okay. So similarly, nested function, right? Another example I can give, distinct block. See here, int a of int comma int. This is a is a name of the function. Here b is a name of the function. This has got int and char. See, int and char, distinct. Both should be different. They should not have the same data type. Last year you learned, right? It will give error. If you have int comma int, here also int comma int, it will give error. Understood? Suppose this is also A. Same name. Okay, same name, but here you see different data type. If it is B, it is okay, no problem. Because this is A and this is B, no problem. If the function name is same, if this is also A and this is also A, if here int and here int and char, no problem. It will not give any error. Is it clear? Fine. Right. Shall I go to the next topic? Function specification. Already we have seen. Now parameters and arguments. Already you learned parameters. Can you recollect parameters? Local parameters, global parameters. Okay, those are different. Two parameters which I told while explaining the function. Actual parameters and formal parameters. Do you remember that? Actual and formal parameters. Fine. Okay. Parameters are nothing but the variables. Arguments are nothing but values. Okay. See, parameters are the variables in a function definition and arguments are the values which are passed to function definition. Is it clear? Now, I'll give you one example. Okay. Suppose if anything happens to our left eye, automatically right eye will use to, like we use right eye to see. The same way, if anything happens to our left leg or left hand, other parts will take over. So, see, left eye and right eye will not have communication. The communication you get from brain. The same way, function will communicate with the main program through parameters. Now you understood why I gave that example. So, parameters are the variable in a function definition and arguments are values. When we use these parameters, we use them in two ways. One is parameter with type, another one is parameter without type. Let us see an example of a function definition. You will understand better. See one example. Now, requires b is greater than 0. See here, let me read this, then you will understand. In the above function definition, the variable b is a parameter. Variable b is a parameter. Okay. Variable b is a parameter, and the value which is passed to the variable b is argument. Whatever you pass to this b is an argument. The precondition requires and the postcondition returns of the function is given. This is precondition. Already the condition is given. B is greater than 0. The condition is given. And whatever result you get, that will return. That is called postcondition. What is postcondition? A to the power of b is a postcondition. A to the power of b. Fine. Whatever value you pass, that will be stored here. That will be power to b. That will return the answer. Right? The precondition requires and the postcondition returns of the function is given. Note, we have not mentioned any data type. Some language compiler solves this data type interface problem algorithmically, but some requires the type to be mentioned. Keep it in mind. Here, I have not mentioned int before any variable. Did you see any data type? No. So, Python automatically will give the data type. You don't need to mention data type in Python, but in C++ you have to mention. Here, automatically the compiler will solve the problem. Now we understood. So, see here, power is a keyword. REC is a function name. REC is a function name. Let is nothing but function definition. Understood? So, in the above function definition, if the expression can return 1 in the then branch by the typing rule, the entire if expression has a type int, nothing. Don't get confused. So, see here, if I pass 1 here, 1 is greater than 0. 1 is greater than 0. If here 1, because here I gave 1, 1 is equal to 0, no, condition is false. So, it will go here. Okay, so from here also you get the answer. Whatever answer you get is nothing but integer. And suppose if it is 0, 0 is equal to 0, then 1 is also integer. So whatever output you get from this program will be an integer. Is it clear? So since if the expression has the type int, okay, since if the expression has a type int, the function return type is also int b is compared to 0 with the equality operator. So b is also type int. Since a is multiplied with another expression using multiplication operator, a must be int. Is it clear, children? Any doubt till now? Right. Fine. Now we are going to see parameter with type. Now let us write the same function definition with types of some reason. Now here request, already I told you, b is greater than 0, returns a to the power of b, and here if you notice one thing, see here we have introduced data type in front of the variable, right? So the data type int is given before a and b. Understood? In last example, only the integer will be the output. In the last example, only the integer will be the output. Here, based on the data type, suppose if we give here a float, the output will be different. Understood? Fine. When we write the type annotation for a and b, the parenthesis or this is called parenthesis. Can you see this is a parenthesis, right? Parenthesis is mandatory. That means compulsory. Generally, we can leave out this annotation because it is simpler to let the compiler to interfere in. That means what? You can leave the parenthesis, right? But what happened? Compiler sometimes what will happen? If it is implicit conversion, it will do it. Suppose if it is explicit conversion, it will give error. Last year, just recollected implicit conversion and explicit conversion. Right? Implicit conversion in the sense, automatically computer will give the data type. Explicit conversion, you have to do it. So, there are times we may want to explicitly write down types. Types mean data types. This is useful on times when you get a type error from the compiler that does not make sense. That means If it is explicit conversion, you have to give it explicitly, separately. Explicit annotating the types can help with debugging such an error message. So you can avoid error message, right? When you want the output must be in floating point, then explicitly you have to mention with the parenthesis. Is it clear? The syntax to the definition function is close to the mathematical usage. The definition is introduced by the keyword let. Now here you see the keyword let. Okay, followed by the name. This is a name, recursive function name of the function and its arguments. These are arguments, right? Then the formula that computes the image of the argument is returned equal to. See this is equal to sign. If you want to define a recursive function, use let rec. Rec is a recursive function definition keyword instead of let. Now you see the syntax here. Let is a keyword. Rec is a recursive keyword. Fn is function name. And A1, A2 up till An are parameters. This K is variable. Here, Fn is a variable indicating an identifier being used as a function name. The name Fn is a variable which is nothing but function name. Name A1 to An are the variables indicating, variables are nothing but parameters, indicating the identifier used as a parameters. The keyword rec is required if Fn is to be recursive function, otherwise it may be omitted. Suppose if you want this expression to be repeated, you are giving the keyword recursive function, otherwise you can remove it, you can omit it. Understood? Now see the note. The function definition with call itself is called recursive function. The function definition which calls itself. Right? Understood? Understood about the note? Any doubt till now? So, for example, let us see an example to check whether an entered number is an odd or even number. Very interesting one. This one, right? Now, here you see requires x is greater than or equal to 0. X is greater than or equal to 0. Let rec even x colon equal to x is equal to or this symbol is called or. Already you know. Okay. Logical operators and or not. Odd x is equal to 1. Now see here, I am giving 3. Okay, x is 3. Now 3 is greater than 0. Yes, definitely 3 is greater than 0. Now here you see 3 minus 1. Okay, 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is what? 2. So 0. X is not 0. X is not 0. I had given 3. So it will go here. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So it will return even. Right? Suppose if I give 4. Okay, this is AND operator. Both should be true. Here either this is true or this is true, it will take. But here both should be true. So x is 0 I am giving. So 4 is not equal to 0. This is not equal to. Keep it in mind. And 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. So 3. It will return odd. Is it clear? Understood now? Now the syntax for function types. X implies Y. Now here you see X is nothing but input data type. Y is nothing but output data type. Similarly here X1 and X2, 2 input data type, 1 output data type. Here X1 up till Xn, infinity. So these are input data type and Y is an output data type. Now X and Y are the variables indicating the types. Type is nothing but data type. The X implies Y is a type of a function that gets an input of the type X and returns an output of the type Y. So it gets input from X and it gives the output Y. Whereas X1, X2 and Y is a type of function that takes 2 inputs, X1 and X2, 2 inputs, right? First input of X1 and the second input of X2 and returns the output of type Y. Likewise, X1 up to Xn has the type X as an input of n arguments and y type as output. Okay, these are equations. Okay, function types, right? Note, all the functions are static definition. There is no dynamic function definition, right? That means you must specify the data type before. You must specify the data type. There is no dynamic function definition. That means you cannot declare the data type in between the program, middle of the program. There is no dynamic definition. Before itself, you should fix the data type. Understood, children? So I hope you understood the topic which I covered today. Fine. Go through the video again. Still, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay. In next class, we will see interface versus implementation. Okay.